Welcome to the Active Trader Setups Tutoring Reference Series, where we'll be reviewing charts and exactly tutoring you on how to set those charts up from scratch, what the indicators are on each chart template that's shown over on our Trader Members site under Products. So you go to tradermembers.com, click on the Products tab, and we have the page set up for our members, as well as it's open to the public if you want to learn more about our charts. We have each chart outlined, each template. We have a different section for the futures charts, and we're taking each chart one at a time and showing all the indicators that are on the chart, telling a little bit about what they tell you, showing you where the scanners are located to scan for the inflection points that are shown on these charts, as well as at the very end of each of these reference tutoring videos, we will have a step-by-step instruction of how to create this chart from scratch with a new chart, starting with the data series and then loading the template. That'll be in about the last 5 minutes of each of these videos. That'll be shown right above the chart template on the page, and this will be the name of the video on the YouTube site that's shown right below the chart template on the page. So it's Products page at tradermembers.com. That's open to the public as well. So you want to remember this if you're having to reconstruct a chart, or you want to place a chart into a workspace you already have open. You don't have that chart there and you need to build it because you want to start using it in your workspace that you've already got created. You'll go over, find this video, just fast forward over the last 5 minutes, and it'll show you how to create each chart from scratch. And be sure to watch on our YouTube channel. We got the Active Trader Setups Trading Setup Series that's coming out 3 and 4 times a week, where we're reviewing actual charts from the day, that's using the chart and the indicator setups that are on that chart to use practical application of the indicators on the charts, how you're going to read them and how you're going to react and trade to them. That's an ongoing series for our clients to learn from, as well as our guests to learn more about our trading package. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and be watching for that series multiple times a week. This video is brought to you by Active Trader Setups Trading Package, a day trader setups company. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel while you're here, and go over to daytradersetups.com. You can find out more about our package under our features area, our registration area, as well as our education and training. We have a YouTube channel page that has links to various videos as well. And then you can go over to our members site. It's called tradermembers.com. Go to the products page, and we have a full listing of reference materials for our traders to access, but this page is open to the public. It goes over each of the charts and what they have on them, the indicators, the indications, how to scan for those, and so forth. This is a 25 bar chart trader with standard inflection. Now on the bottom of this chart, it just says ATS Ichimoku 25 on the left, 25 chart trader, ATS Ichimoku. Template 25 bar chart trader standard inflection. The data series is only one. It's ATS Ichimoku set to 25 brick, and then the indicator is the bar chart trader, as well as the inflection points. We also have the STS force at the bottom, and we have the volume up and down, but not the volume alert. the button trader shown as I showed you before. We also have the trend lines on this chart. They're auto trend lines. It's a standard NinjaTrader setting. They're on here twice. Two different settings. You can look at the settings and may learn how to apply those to some other charts you may be using. Then it has the prior day open, high, low, and close, and current day open, high, and low. And we did the arrows on the line, same as we did on our other standard inflection on a 5-minute chart, I believe it was. And it has the force 1 at the bottom and the volume up. We'll talk about all of those as we get into the actual chart. So I went ahead and changed the name of this so that would be more clear, because if you come to a chart that doesn't have anything but candles on it, you don't have any idea what was there and you're trying to replace it. So I should have made that more clear. I went ahead and corrected that, and that will be how the template loads, and it matches with the template name. Now, your trend lines, I want to talk about those in more detail down here on these indicators at the bottom. This is just volume on this STS Force 1 and alert. I trade this a lot. I actually have some auto traders set up on it. The trend lines, I want to look at the settings on these. You can use these if you're trying to put trend lines on other charts and see how I did those. They're just listed as trend line. You see I got them on here 3 times. And I got the strength set to 5. I think the default's 5 in one line. And the default for the opacity on the old trends is 25. I changed it to 80 so you can see them. Now you can change them to dash lines and solid lines. I made the most recent the dash line, and I changed them to 2. Did the opacity at 80 and the number of trend lines 2. I wanted a top line and a bottom line, most recent. Then I added it again. I changed it to strength of 15. Again, 2 trend lines, opacity of 80. You could say more trend lines, but if you don't have more strength, I think this is a better way to do it. Now you can turn these on or off on these alerts. I'm going to turn them back off. They only alert if you have a chart open, and you can gives you a sound. So if you're keeping a chart open, multiple charts, and you want to have them alert, you just recheck those to turn them back on. They're going to be in the template as off on the alert audible. But the trend lines, there's 3 of them. This is the third one, set to 25 strength to 80 opacity. These are set on each tick. And the reason I put them on each tick, they won't default to each tick, is so that when you mouse over and you look in your data box, you can see the value of that trend line as you're coming up to it. Now it may be, if it's sloping, that's going to change. I'm going to go ahead and apply and show you what I'm talking about right here in the data box. If you're down here and you look at the value of the trend line, it shows 3 different ones, and you're going to have to figure out which one's which. They're just in the smaller strength will be the top one. They're just in the same order, next strength, next strength. But if I mouse over right here and I'm coming up, it's telling me that trend line is around 183.13, and you can look and you see 183.21. Now, when it drops, the next bar is falling. So now that 183.21 just became 183.16. So if you're trying to figure out a price alert, I mainly put these on here because if you're looking at getting in a trade and you're running into a trend line, you might want to wait a minute. You also will get this kind of pattern you got here. This broke up, but then it went back. See the big wick in there? It didn't do a reversal bar, but it did come back and test that trend line. That's what you want to see. Then you can set your order to go long. You love to see a trend line or even an old high or old low get retested. Now by setting those 3 on this chart, Obviously, the 25 is going back further. Look at the top 25, how far that went back. It goes off these 2 points, goes way back. So if you were to trade up into it and you see it going way back, you can't even see where it started, you want to pay attention. And look, this right here plotted on those 2 lower lows, and that was same day, I believe, that took place. Yeah, it was all in the same day. And it carried forward. What happened when it got there? It rejected. Also, you had this line. This line is drawn from here to here. This one's drawn from there to there. So you didn't have one from here to here, but that's basically what you ran into. So you had 2 different points of resistance there. Now, you don't have anything else on this chart. You may have something on one of my cloud charts. Very likely probably did, but this is a huge tool. Trend lines are big, and learning how to the expected patterns when you run into trend lines, just like this is an expected pattern. I'm gonna zoom in here. This is coming up. It was a big green bar right here when it first started. It hit the trend line pretty much. The high of that bar was, I have to move this data box. Let me make this chart a little bit smaller so we can see it all. The high of this bar was 183.05, and it shows a trend line at 183.12. So when it opened this bar, it opened it at 183. It had a big green pretty bar just like this one, and it couldn't get through that trend line, so it pulled back. It gave you this gyration. You're coming into a wedge. When you come into a wedge, you're going to get a move in one direction or another. Occasionally, you'll get all the way here. I've seen them drop down and then explode back through. But you're coming into a point that you're going to get an accelerated move. And so finally this did. It gave you 2 wiki candles, finally got through it, and then this is what I showed you earlier, how it came back and retested. It made a low there of 79, and that line at that time was all the way down at, the line was, it says 182.50, but that ain't right. There's 2 trend lines there, but I don't believe 182.50 is right because it only made a low of 182.79. We see it went below the trend line. But you see it pierce the line. You get my point that is retesting it, which gives you more strength in going up to here. And you see now when it went up, what happened here off our inflections. That's the other indicators that's on this chart. The same standard inflections you looked at on a 5-minute chart, except for there's no VWAP on this chart. And the reason there's not is because the VWAP doesn't plot very well on my all-wick bars. I don't want it to be that inaccurate. Again, the way we did the lines, the green dotted line is today's high, so yellow dotted, pink dotted line is today's low. And you get over to the next day, here it is, today's low. Today's high was right here. You can barely see it right behind that area. The blue line pointed to the right is today's open. The blue line pointed to the left is yesterday's open. That's what you see there. In this case, yesterday's low happened to line up with yesterday's open as well. So that's where it opened at the low. That's why all your lines are on top of each other there. Yesterday's close is in yellow to the left. Today's open is in blue to the right. You see what happened when you ran up here. You ran into yesterday's low. It was support. Really wasn't support because it didn't turn around and come back. It just happened to be yesterday's low. But it still was yesterday's open as well. And when it got there, it couldn't go any further. You see, it got in trouble. End of the day. Inflection points are always, you need to pay attention to them. The other indicator you have here, got this volume down here, and you can see this big volume bar right there. Now, does that mean that's buying volume? No, it does not, because you're not looking at that on a 5-minute chart or a 3-minute chart where you can tell if that was green. That's a green bar or a red bar. That's accumulated volume in this wiki candle. This bar right here closed, the one prior, 12:58. This bar closed at 2:30. There's a time right here. I want you to look at the time. That bar closed at 11:53. Excuse me. I need to get over here. This bar closed at 12:58. This bar closed at 14:32. So 2:32. So that means the reason all that volume is there is because the price spent an hour and 30 minutes right there. And I remember that well because I was long that stock. We took this long off a cloud trade, and it sat there and sat there and sat there. The cloud was telling me it wanted to break out. And this trend line is telling you it wants to break out too. But it spent a very, very long time there. I never got out. I never stopped out. You can see it didn't make the reversal bar. I just stayed with my stop 2 bars back, was patient about it, and then I got this move from 183 to 184 going into the close. It's easier to stay in a trade than it is to find another one, is the way I look at things. If I'm in a trade, I got in it for a reason. I believed in my setup, and I decided to ride it out. And I didn't get a loser. It didn't take out. If it makes a reversal candle, I'm out. It came close, but it didn't. And I stayed in the chart, in the stock, and was able to make that dollar trade there into the close. And all this finally took place. That was 2:30. The next bar closed at 2:30. The next bar closed at 2:30. It started moving. You can see the time over there. This one closed at 1. This one closed at 2:32. This one closed at 2:33. This one closed 2:33 and a half. This one closed at 2:33 and a half. So once it started moving, it ran up pretty good, and then it slowed down again 5 minutes later, 1 minute after that, and then the next an entire hour from here to there. But it never was a reason to get out, and it continued on up to near the close. That was quarter till right there. So don't forget, you got your bar chart trader over here on the right that's programmed off the 25 bars. And that's entirely a whole learning process on this bar. This is a huge trade management tool for entering and trailing your stops and controlling your stops. Even if you're not live trading from NinjaTrader, this can give you those trailing stops that you can continue to adjust at your broker, as well as give you entry prices that's going to trigger when the reversal bar turns. So you can use this as your system to place your other orders, as well as to know when it turns and stops you out if you weren't paying attention. If you got this in a sim trade, you'll know that your order was filled, and you look over and your stops are gone off the chart because you just closed the position, and it alerts you to pay attention to your brokerage and go ahead and get out of that trade. The last indicator at the bottom is this force indicator. We haven't spent a lot of time talking about it. We have videos on each indicator and videos on each scanner. This indicator, you can see here, this is something I actually scan for. I actually have auto trade set up on this. If I've got this bar right up to the top and it's green, I can look over in this box. It'll be down here at the bottom. It'll be green. It'll say 1. Then I got the reversal bar. And normally you get the red 0 on this bar if it's assertive. Sometimes it's a bar later. In this case, it was on the very top doji bar. Very rare. Assertive reversal. Normally it's this bar's green 1, this bar's in between, this one's a red 1. Occasionally it goes back to here, and many times it's way down here. It don't have to instantly turn because the candle turns. You can see like this one drifting down, or here you got a turn candle up, but it never did go green and went up for 3 bars. So it don't have to go red to green, green to red. That's a sign of strength in a direction when it assertively flips. I actually have auto trade set up on this. It's called the instant trade, and it will take this trade automatically if you load your symbols into that particular indicator. It's the only thing that's an auto trade in the non-auto trade version of our Active Trader Setups trading package is that particular setup. There's another one that just has just a volume bar, a reversal bar later with a 10 high volume bar. Those are the only two. So if you got something that's assertively running and you want to say, hey, if it reverses, I want to be in it, you can just set your trail bar here as this is running up. When it turns, it's going to take you short. But if you don't have enough space to keep charts open, because you close this chart and you lost your order, you can place it into that instant trader, but it will only trade it if it's assertive volume or it does this exact pattern. So if it does the rollover and it takes it multiple bars to go red, it wouldn't automatically put you in the trade. You can always set yourself price alerts as well. You know what the reversal bar is going to be if you're here, but the problem is when these are running out, it's constantly changing. That's the beauty of setting this. Even if you got it on a sim trade, when it finally goes from here to here and says order filled, you look up, you just got short. Now, can you chase it? You don't want to chase it if it's slamming down, but if it turns and it'll give you the field price, your average price, even if it's a sim trade, and you'll know where the price is in relationship to where this field and decide if you want to take that trade or not. That's what this is all about. Setups to make you money and tools to let you know when it happens. You could decide right here you want to short this on when it turns, and way up here 20 minutes later it'll give you that sound order filled on a sim trade, and you know you want to get in. And if you're using the live trading full license with NinjaTrader, then you would actually can trade this through your broker if your broker is an approved broker that NinjaTrader can trade through. Now we're going to build our template from scratch. This video is brought to you by Active Trader Setups Tutoring Reference Series, where we're dissecting the components of each chart and all the indicators that are shown on the charts and how to read them and what they're intended to inform you about. Be sure to watch the complete series on any other chart templates you need information on, as well as be sure to tune in to our trading and training series, where we'll be looking at real-time setups on the charts as they progress through the day, and you start to learn to recognize how you're applying all these indicators to your trading. We're taking the charts and the indicators and learning how they apply to real-time trading and reading the charts. That's the trading and training series. We're putting that out 2 to 3 times a week during the week. And then also on the weekends, we're going to have a weekend chart talk video that goes into many more charts that showed up throughout the week, and mainly concentrating on the cloud setups and the ATS Inflection charts. Thanks again for watching our video. Learn more about our trading package at ActiveTraderSetups.com.